Hey, what's good, y'all? Welcome back to another video. In this video, we'll be going over our wide receiver position group, and we'll be going over who's most likely going to be starting and what we'll see throughout the season. So, our wide receiver position group is probably one of the most interesting in recent memory. We have so many guys who can potentially make the starting role. There isn't that one solidified guy who's obviously guaranteed a spot. I think the only guy we can say that for is Brandon Cooks. Everyone else, I think it's fair game. So, starting off with our outside wide receivers, who do you think is going to get that starting role?
For the outside wide receiver, I'm probably gonna say either Nico Collins or Brandon Cooks. Nico Collins, obviously, because of his height difference against corners. He's gonna be like a matchup nightmare for some corners. And for Brandon Cooks, it's gonna be a speed, so it's gonna be a matchup nightmare in terms of speed. So it's gonna be either one of those, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. Nico Collins has that ability to be wide receiver number one someday. He's definitely going to be our future wide receiver number one. Maybe not this year, but definitely in the future. He has that potential. Like we've said, height, weight, speed, has all the kind of measurables that you like to see in a wide receiver. And on the other side, I definitely see Chris Conley, who we signed in the offseason. I think he's pretty good. He kind of has the same kind of build as Nico Collins, the same height kind of build. So I think they'll kind of learn from each other of that regard. And I think he's definitely our outside wide receiver number two, I guess. And I guess Collins would be number three.
Yeah, I could for sure see that. The three wide receivers, so we're gonna be running probably two outside and one inside on most of the plays, assuming. So yeah, I could definitely see Nico and then Chris Conley on the outside, and maybe Brandon Cooks on the inside. Or I could even see maybe Chris Conley be more of like a backup wide receiver three in a way, with Cooks putting him outside like we did last year. Last year, Brandon Cooks had over 1,000 yards, and I think most of them were from the outside. So I mean, Brandon Cooks, even though his height difference against corners is pretty short, I think he's like 5'7" or 5'8", probably a little bit taller than that, but something like that. He doesn't have the best size, but his speed and route running makes up for it. He's a very underrated route runner. In my opinion, he's probably like a top 15 route runner in the whole NFL. Sure, it's saying a lot, but we've seen it in his career. He's had multiple 1,000-yard plus seasons with different teams, putting him in different roles. He's played in the slot sometimes. He's played on the outside. He's played as wide receiver number two, number one. So I believe Brandon Cooks wouldn't be a bad outside option. I could see Chris Conley just being that wide receiver number three in case someone goes down or if somebody's resting or something like that.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's doubting Brandon Cooks after that amazing season that he had. There were a lot of questions when he first came here, when he was first traded here, wondering about his concussion history and whether he'd be able to stay on the field. But he was able to do that, and he was healthy throughout the whole season and showed that really leadership mentality. He really stepped up when others didn't, and that was really good to see. And so, yeah, I definitely love Brandon Cooks, and I think it's fair to say that he's probably the most underrated wide receiver in the league by far. I don't think he gets enough recognition. And now going on the slot. So we do have Randall Cobb, who we are paying a pretty good contract, I believe $9 million. So he's probably going to get the start. But I think throughout the season, it's definitely going to be a competition with Kiki QT. And yeah, so I think Cobb gets the start, but I think throughout the season, by like week 8, you might get to see more QT action.
Yeah, and then especially I think this is Kiki QT's contract year, so I'd assume Kiki wants to prove himself, want to earn a bag, want to earn some type of contract, and especially if we'll be possibly cutting or moving on from Randall Cobb after the season, I would think we show Kiki QT, even if Randall Cobb's having a solid year and maybe we're not doing the best, I could for sure see Kiki QT coming in just to see, I guess, if he's worth to be paid or anything like that. But yeah, I think Randall Cobb, Kiki QT are going to be like the main slot guys. Maybe we'll see a little bit of Marlon Williams in the slot. He's more of a big body, but in Central Florida, he was played more in the slot. I think more than outside, he was played more in the slot. So it's kind of interesting. I guess it's something new coming to the NFL. There's quite a few different guys who are big body receivers who can play in that slot role. We've seen DeAndre Hopkins play that slot role kind of often. We see Julio play it once in a while. We've seen DK play it once in a while. So, I mean, hey, maybe big body slot receivers are maybe the next big thing or something.
Yeah, Kiki QT is definitely a mixed bag. After Fuller got injured, not injured, but got suspended, and Randall Cobb got injured, he really stepped up. But there were a fair share of problems, such as fumbling, where he made like some game, like costing the game with his fumbles. So obviously, ball security isn't his strongest suit. So that's definitely he needs to work on. I feel like yeah, that's definitely gonna make or break his ability to see the field. So if he's able to get that under control, I think he's very very good. I think he did really good again in that Colts game, especially. I think he's like there's a certain thing about Key QT when he faces the Colts, like he just goes on another level. But yeah, Key QT, I personally like him, but I see why a lot of fans don't like him. But yeah, that's definitely something to look out for. And then another question mark this season is Isaiah Coulter. He was a 6th-round rookie, I believe, that we drafted last season, and he didn't get too much time on the field. So definitely, this is the time for him to shine in a sense, because it's more so of an open competition. And so I think Isaiah Coulter should be able to win out some of those guys. I like what I saw from his college years. So, but yeah, I see him more as an outside wide receiver. But what do you think about Isaiah Coulter?
Honestly, I can see Isaiah Coulter having a solid camp. I believe last year in camp, a lot of people were really high on him, but then he got hurt or something like that, and then it pretty much ruined his opportunity in his first year in the NFL. He really didn't see the field much. I think he only played like maybe one game, and in that one game, he probably played like less than 5 snaps. So yeah, he hasn't really had a chance to prove himself. But as I was saying last year in training camp, I think he had a pretty good camp. If he come in here this year and have also a pretty good camp this year, I could see him probably getting like a start in like the preseason, seeing what he has in the preseason. And if he does good in the preseason, I could probably see him being like a top 5, top 6 receiver on our team, like being maybe wide receiver number 5 for us or something like that. Obviously, he's probably not going to start because what is he, a 6th round, 5th round or something like that wide receiver. And it's rare to see a wide receiver that late come into a team or come into the NFL and be good. I'm not doubting Isaiah Coulter, but it's pretty rare to see. I mean, I'm hoping the best for him. He has all the attributes. He's pretty solid in speed. He's pretty tall. But one thing that's kind of iffy is his weight size. I feel like he would be like a guy to get pretty much hammered by a safety or something, trying to make a catch out the middle of the field or something. But yeah, I have a lot of, confidence in Isaiah Coulter. I can see him definitely being a wide receiver 5 type of guy.
Yeah, Isaiah Coulter, definitely. I mean, the coaching staff last year didn't do him any favors. They said it was a veteran year, and that kind of really costed our rookies. Not just in the wide receiver group, but in all groups, to like really get that valuable playing time. But now, since we're probably not going to have Deshaun Watson, we're not really in that playoff contending mode. So we're more in that rebuild phase. He's definitely going to get the snaps, I hope. And I hope Robert Prince, our wide receiver coach, who's highly regarded in NFL circles, to really develop these guys and make them most of them in a sense. So yeah, any final thoughts on our wide receiver group?
One thing I want to say is that the 2 undrafted rookies, Marlon Williams and I think his name is Damon Hazelton. I believe at least one of them are going to make the team, and I believe it's going to be Marlon Williams. I know a lot of people aren't really too high based on his tape. Like his stats, they're very good. His highlights are also very good. But I mean, I've seen a couple of guys like Texans thoughts and just different guys who do Texans breakdowns go over his film, and they say it's not the best. But I mean, if you're producing stats, I mean, obviously film is much better than stats. So you can do stuff better on the field than in terms of stats. It's obviously going to be better for the team. But I can see him being a dark horse for maybe like a Isaiah Coulter, like a wide receiver 5 type of guy as well. Like maybe beat out Isaiah Coulter for that role. But I wouldn't be shocked to see him make the team, obviously. If he has a good preseason, a good training camp, I could see him being a pretty, big piece for this wide receiver room for next season. Obviously, like you said, we're going to be more of a rebuilding team, so it doesn't hurt to give young guys chances. And they're probably going to move on from Brandon Cooks after this year. So maybe Brandon Cooks obviously going to be a starter, but maybe give him more rest once in a while between plays. Maybe he plays one series, and then next series he gets a little bit of rest, try some different guys, something like that. But I believe Marlon Williams could be a very good option for us.
Yeah, I think at the very least he should make the practice squad. And I mean, just because I do see why there is some doubt, because just because you produce in college doesn't mean you necessarily translate in the NFL. Has to be certain things that you're able to do that you can kind of replicate in the NFL, and that's why is some concern there. Like his separation isn't the greatest, but he is able to be super aggressive after the catch, so that really sets him apart from the other guys that you don't really see as often. That quality. So, but yeah, I definitely like our undrafted guys, and of course Nico Collins, such a steal, that position we got him at. So Yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the video. Let us know your thoughts on the wide receiver position group that we have. And as always, be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. Thank you all for watching. Peace.